What's happening, everybody? On my way back north out of Houston. Just got unloaded down there and headed back up towards the house. Gonna grab a couple tomorrow and probably do a couple little short ones tomorrow. But anyways, we're up in the Freightshaker, just pedaling northbound. So anyways, I figured I'd get on here and give everybody an update about the Freightliner. It went down, I want to say, back in March. I could be lying about that. Yeah, March, sounds about right. Blew the motor. Anyways, got it towed home. Got it parked out in front of the shop, and then it took me a while to decide what I was going to do, whether I was going to end frame it, sell it as is, put a crate engine in it, what have you. Well, I got a quote on a pull-out engine, which is basically just like out of a junkyard, out of a wrecked truck somewhere. That was about $18,000. I thought, well, that's a lot of money for an engine I don't know anything about. And then it was going to be about $26,000 to end frame it, and that's no bull gear. That's just pistons, liners, and I think we're going to do a head and a cam and all that kind of stuff, but no bull gear. And the block stayed in the truck. Well, it was going to be $30,000 to put a crate engine in it, 32. And so I thought, I sure hate to try to save $6,000 and then get the head yanked off and figure out that the block's garbage anyways. Not to mention, I don't get any oil leaks fixed or anything else like that. So I decided to go ahead and go the crate engine route. And we got a 3/4 engine from somewhere, I can't remember where now. Anyways, pulled the old motor out of here and set the new one down beside it and started pulling all the stuff off of the old one, putting it on the new one. And well, we figured out we needed a new ECM harness, needed a new exhaust manifold, clutch, flywheel, and an injector harness, and a handful of other little odds and ends. Anyways, the long and short of it is ended up blowing that $30,000 engine budget by about 10 grand. The job, after everything was said and done, ended up costing right just north of $40,000, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to go back and look at my invoice to get the exact number, but either way, that was kind of a hard pill to swallow whenever all the chickens came home to roost on that deal. But got the motor in it, got it home, drove it home, and no sooner than I drove it home, the seal on the camshaft and the back side of the front cover between the gear cover and the head was leaking oil, a substantial amount. And I didn't notice it was coming out of the cam there. It looked like it was coming out from between the head and the block. And I thought, oh, Lord have mercy, here we go. This head ain't torqued down right, or this block's messed up, or something like that. And see, my shop didn't touch any of that. The engine came in a box. And anyways, went back up there, and upon a little digging, I noticed it was coming out of the back of that seal, like I said. Anyways, ended up not being a big deal. Just had to pull the front cover off, pull the cam gear, and pop a new seal in there, and it was all ready. So ran it about 6,000 miles or so, 6,500, and the air dryer, the purge valve on the air dryer stuck open. So I had a day come by where there was no work to be done that day, hauling wise. And so I thought, well, there's no time like the present to go ahead, slap a new air dryer on there. Well, then that opened up a whole can of worms. We spent about 2 or 3 days jacking with that. And I finally gave up, took it to the shop. And of course, I wasn't testing the signal line on the air dryer correctly because I didn't have the equipment to do so. And partially that, and partially I was misunderstanding how the unloader valves worked in the air compressor. But now I understand very thoroughly how all that stuff works. So next time it won't catch me with my pants down, but it did this time. So anyways, got all that squared away, and for the most part, it's been doing pretty good. This truck was using about 3 to 4 gallons of oil a week and about 3 gallons of water a week. It was unloading oil out of cylinder number 3 into the turbo. And I know that it was cylinder number 3 because you could look up in there behind the turbo and see the oil-soaked exhaust manifold gasket right there on that. And if something ever happened where you idled the truck overnight, it would load up into the exhaust side of the turbo, and down there on where the flex pipe goes above the fuel tank, it would sit there and leak out on top of the fuel tank. And it was losing oil between the block and the head, and losing water between the block and the head on both number 1 and number 6 on both sides of the engine, exhaust and intake side. And the rear main seal was leaking. Anyways, there was just a myriad of oil leaks, and also it was consuming oil as well. It wouldn't hardly leave any oil on the ground. It was just some real heavy seeps. The only oil it would leave on the ground was out from underneath the blow-by tube, and also right there where I said the flex pipe off the exhaust, where that number 3 cylinder was pumping the turbo full of oil. So we've taken the oil consumption down from 3 gallons a week down to about a gallon a week. About a gallon every 3,000 miles. The first 6,000 miles I've put on this engine, it drank 2 gallons of oil. And I don't know if that was maybe a break-in period where the rings were trying to get seated. I don't know if that will slow down at all. But even if it doesn't, we've reduced the oil consumption by 2/3, and that's a pretty substantial dent in the oil consumption. So I'd be pretty, of course I hope it gets better, but I'd like to see it at a gallon every 15,000. Or 12 or whatever a service interval is, but if we don't get there, we don't get there. I'm not going to tear the engine back down trying to save a gallon of oil a week. So we fixed a handful of air leaks on it and got it pretty well good to go. I wouldn't hesitate to take off anywhere in this truck tomorrow. I've mostly just been running it local and stuff because the fella that works in the office, he generally works Monday through Friday, and then I'll generally work Saturday and Sunday until the milk picks back up. Then he and I are probably gonna go to 6 days hauling milk, and then I'll go to 1 day in the office, and then we'll probably just kind of see whoever needs what the worst, whether he needs a Saturday in particular, Sunday in particular off, or if they need help Saturday or Sunday or whatever, kind of a case by case, week by week sort of basis. But anyways, that is the update on 105. Still a money pit. Still way more expensive than a new truck. And, but, I kind of knew what I was getting into when I drug it out of the weeds, but it's been, me and this truck's gone round and round. So, anywho, just thought I'd call, Jesus pleases. Anyways, I just thought I'd get on here and catch you guys up on what's been going on with 105. So, this is 105, the little Freightliner. But anyways, thanks for watching, and you guys take it easy. We'll catch you around.